Hey guys, what's going on? Bobby here, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the ATA Network podcast. First off, here at the top of the show, like we have been before, we want to thank John at the What's That Like podcast for letting me use Studio 312 to record this podcast. Also, if you have any guest recommendations out there, anybody you want to hear out here on the radio waves, just like today's episode, it doesn't necessarily have to be a go-kart racer, but he is, and we'll get into that just a little bit. You can recommend them. Just send me a message through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All of that is ATA Network. Also, any links that we talk about, anything that we want to, attach to this podcast through the links, through the internet, the power of the internet. Check out bobbykrug.com/podcast for the collection of link dumps for over these past couple episodes. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying this show. It's been fun to produce. We've had a lot of cool guests on. We've talked about a lot of different things already in this just short lifetime. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying it, and we're going to keep producing it. We're on a roll over here, Studio 312 with ATA Network. So hopefully you guys are enjoying all of it. Also, one last thing here, to support the show, go ahead and check out shop.spreadshirt.com/ATA Network. Buy a hoodie or shirt or something. It costs us about, I'd say $20-30 a month to keep the show hosted. So that's about 2 or 3 items of merchandise. So help support the show that brings you entertainment, that brings you joy. We are available at youtube.com/ATA Network. We're on Apple Podcast. We're on Google Play Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Libsyn. If we are missing your preferred podcast platform, let us know and we will try to add the ATA Network podcast to that list. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We're actually going to... my good buddy, co-host Jacob Wiseman is here in the studio. Jacob, say hello to the people.
Hello to the people.
And we've kind of thought of an idea. I feel like there's some origins behind the ATA Network that are still unknown.
Even to me.
Even to Jacob, the guy that says that I say that he probably knows the most out of anybody. So we're going to kind of turn the tables. We're going to kind of take a deep dive into me. I'm going to get interviewed on this episode. And we're going to kind of take a deep dive in ATA Network.
Turn the tables.
And to be fair, I don't know what I'm about to be asked.
Yeah.
I don't know how far back we're going, but
do I even know?
I don't even think anybody knows what's going to happen.
Wow, that's wild.
We're not going to know until we get into it, and it's going to be a fun discussion. Mm-hmm. So sit back, keep doing what you're doing, working out, driving in your car, whatever you got going on, you keep doing that, and we will fill the airways with some entertainment. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jacob.
All right.
And we'll see what we're going to get ourselves into.
All right. Hello, people. As Bobby said, I am Jacob. I am one of the co-hosts of this wonderful ATA Network podcast. And I've known Bobby for 4 years now. Yeah, 4 years now. It's a long time. And there's some things about ATA Network that maybe you guys don't know. There's some stuff I don't know. And I just think, who better to ask than the man himself, ATA Bobby. So we're just going to jump right into it.
Let's jump right in.
Let's just jump right in. So first, we're going to start with a basic question that I know the answer to. I'm sure some other people do. So what does ATA stand for?
To properly answer this question, properly
use your words.
I'm going to start using that.
All right.
Probably properly.
Uh-huh.
To answer this question, I need to kind of discuss real quick how it got started.
Yep.
I suppose. So ATA stands for Achieve the Achievable.
Yeah.
And back in the day, ATA Network was founded on the idea of video game achievement guides. And so that's where Achieve the Achievable, achieving stuff so you don't have to, was the motto.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
And it was me and my 2 friends back in junior high school, Caleb Dexheimer and Joe Mahan. So that's where ATA came from.
Going a little deeper here, why did you guys want to start on YouTube? And I know you said video games, but what kind of content specifically did you want to give out?
So I was interested in video production long before we started actually making videos, like most content creators are. I, along with my friends, were big fans of the company Rooster Teeth. And they do a lot of stuff now, but Back in the day, they did just mostly online content. Now they've got video games.
Sorry, not to cut you off here,
you're
but
good.
there's a guy in the department who's graduating with me. He's actually going to be working with Rooster Teeth, so that's pretty cool.
That's really cool to
Connections.
have that connection.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
So I was a big fan of their stuff that they were putting out. Mostly their Achievement Hunter stuff was their name of their thing. So that's where
I've heard of it.
So Achievement Hunter, achieve the achievable. You can see kind of the connection that we drew out. But you know, it wasn't just necessarily achievement guides that we wanted to do. We also wanted to do just like let's play content where we just get together and play video games.
What kind of games did you guys want to play?
The common games that we played on the channel were like, especially starting out, was Grand Theft Auto 4.
Always.
That was back in the day.
Always.
But my love for content creation came way before that kind of stuff. What I think would make a good episode for this podcast is me and one of my friends growing up. When I first moved to Mount Olive, her name was Megan McCollum.
Okay.
She's still around. She's doing good.
Yeah.
And I don't even think you know this. This is going.
I've never heard that name.
This is
so
going
no,
really
I don't.
far back. When I moved here, she was like one of the first friends that I made. And back in the day, on my old computer, I didn't have any proper recording equipment, so I actually started a radio show that wasn't on the internet.
What?
Yeah. So there's this game on the PlayStation 2 called Boogie.
Okay. I've never heard of it.
So it's karaoke. Okay. So when you bought the game, you also got a microphone. And it worked like a normal microphone for a computer. It was USB connected. But for the game on PlayStation, it would only see your level that you were singing at. It didn't do pitch or anything like that. It wasn't that sophisticated. So you'd be like karaokeing to a song, but it was only gauging you on how loud you were singing at certain sections, and that's how it, figured out if you were singing it correctly. I plugged it into my computer and it worked. And that was like the first microphone that I had. And I used the audio recorder on Windows XP, which there's people that may or may not know how it worked, but you hit the record button and it records for a 60-second period. And if you want to keep recording longer, as soon as it stops recording, you have to click record again. So I would be talking.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I'd be talking like this, and like I would either try to stop recording and then start recording and make it seem natural, like on my own,
Right.
Or I would just run out of time. And then I would be like sitting here, like, let's say that this computer in front of me is doing that. Like if I knew that 60 seconds was coming up, I would like start doing this. And like I'd be clicking. So that way, as soon as it stopped, I was recording again. So,
okay.
So me and Megan had our own radio station thing. So we'd play songs. I recorded songs bootleg. I would take the microphone. Yeah, because nobody's doing that nowadays. I would do that. I would put my microphone up to my computer speaker and play songs through YouTube and record it that way. I wouldn't even go to the trouble of like a YouTube to MP3 download thing. I would just put the microphone up to the speaker and record it through that. So in the same way with the audio, when I would talk, there would be breaks in the song every 60 seconds for that split second of me trying to get it recording again. So I've got all these songs. I've got all these songs recorded, and then we would record little host things in between. And this is the real kicker. Oh, you're not going to let this go. I don't think anyone's going to let this go.
Let it go.
This is going to be tough to even present.
I'm ready.
It was called Stupid Station. Stupid Station. And our host names. Now, this is how creative I was back in the day.
Not Bobby and Megan?
You're really close.
Oh, okay.
It was Stupid Bobby and Stupid Megan.
Oh man, that's some next level thinking.
So we would do these little radio shows. We recorded 50 of them, and they were all recorded on my computer.
Oh my Lord.
And I don't have them anymore because the old computer that I used to use, the hard drive got corrupted. So if I ever had the chance to get somebody to rebuild my hard drive and go through and try to repair it without losing any of the information, Stupid Station might still be there.
Stupid Station. We got to find it.
That was back in 07, 08. But that was content creating before I was doing it. Right. And I don't think anybody really knows that.
Well, they do now.
Now they do. So yeah, I did that for a little bit. And then that's when for Christmas in 2009 or 2008, I got a video camera. And so I was able to shoot videos. I did a lot of family video stuff. Not family video, the company, but like home movies.
They don't really exist anymore.
Yeah, they don't. They're kind of done.
Yeah.
But we did home movies. So like I would go on trips with like my uncle and aunt. There was we went to Wren Lake for like a fishing trip or something, and I recorded video from that. And then my first camera didn't last very long. It was like a cheap, like $30, like should not never have been built camera. It's like when you want to get a camera for somebody, but it's like
in 2008 or 2009 as well. So
right. So it wasn't good. So I ended up quickly upgrading to a flip video camera. And so when we first started ATA back in the day, achieved the achievable. There was no network to it. We recorded all the videos through that flip camera, but I couldn't edit. It recorded at 720p high definition videos.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. Big boy.
Big boy
Back in the day. And the funny thing is I couldn't edit HD video because I was using Windows Movie Maker on the Windows XP computer.
Right.
So I had an application that I still use today to make files into different files. Like you can take video files and audio files, or you make like a MPEG 4 into like a Move file, like an Apple Move file.
What app is it?
It's a WinFF.
WinFF.
So like Win, WINFF. And then
Not sponsor.
Not sponsor. When I would record stuff with my flip camera, I had to run it through WinFF and change it to AVI at 480p because I couldn't edit HD video. So it would be standard aspect ratio, but I was taking HD footage and basically like smushing it. So a lot of my beginning videos that were shot at standard definition were originally high definition videos that I had to downgrade to standard def. But yeah, when we started out the channel, the only video game content that we really pushed out was Grand Theft Auto stuff.
Classic.
We did a lot of fake machinimas, as they're called, movies that you can make where there's acting involved in video game. Some of the popular ones, like Rooster Teeth made some as well, as we ripped off more of Rooster Teeth. One of their famous ones is Red versus Blue using
I know.
Halo.
I do know that one.
So that's kind of what we did. We did police chase scenes. We did like GTA edition of like cops. So we basically play cops and robbers, but be very vocal on the mic to make it entertaining.
It's voice acting.
Essentially. There's a couple other series that we would run video game wise.
Green versus pink.
No, we didn't. We didn't rip it off that bad. There's really not a lot of Halo content on the channel. I really never was big into Halo, but all my friends were.
I wasn't either.
Minecraft was something that I was big into.
I was a GTA boy. GTA San Andreas specifically.
GTA San Andreas was a good one,
That's
but
the best one in my opinion.
That it was really good. That definitely made GTA what it is. It's one of the classics
For sure.
But all the stuff that we did mostly was GTA 4, and even the DLCs, the Lost and Damned, and then the Ballad of Gay Tony. Those two had really good DLCs with some pretty cool content. But that was back before the current GTA spectrum, where everything is. There's a lot of DLC now.
Yeah.
You have to go out and buy and download, and it just.
Cousin Roman, let's go bowling.
Let's go bowling. Yes, cousin.
That right there is iconic of itself.
Yeah, I will argue anybody all day long. Everyone thinks that GTA 5 is the best one just because of the improvements they made with multiplayer and stuff like that. But I will fight all day that GTA 4. Everyone thought GTA 4 was boring, but I think GTA 4 had the best storyline.
See, I was never able to play it.
And a lot of people like tried to like get into it, but they never could. It's a slow start, but it gets really intense. And all the characters in GTA 4 are super. I don't want to say relatable because that makes me sound like a bad person, but like they're just characters that you can really get to know over the time.
You can understand them.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So
that was the content you wanted to give then. Was there ever a shift in your content to where you went from like video games to like, because I know you did some backyard trampoline wrestling.
Yeah.
Was that kind of tied together in some way?
Well, I will say that like what is consistent now that was consistent back then is I made content that I wanted to make.
As you should.
I never molded to a brand. Like I never really stuck to anything. And a lot of the backyard wrestling stuff kind of all happened along with the video game stuff. There's a lot of things that we tried doing. But it was more so like we tried things and it either went bad and we never posted the video or it went good and it made a series.
Yeah.
The backyard wrestling stuff never made it like public on the channel.
That's a shame.
It just kind of happened.
That's a shame.
Just because, especially nowadays, you know, back in the day, I never really considered having a professional presence online.
Right.
Just because
obviously you were like teenager kid, you know.
Yeah, you see all these there's still a lot of adults. Like, I think of the Paul brothers,
Yeah.
Jake and Logan.
Yeah.
They do a lot of stupid stuff.
They sure do.
But they bring in a lot of views too.
That's true.
So we thought, or at least I thought, that doing goofy things of whatever, made sense or what made sense in my mind without thinking about your audience or thinking about who might see it and how that might affect you. I mean, what you post on the internet, and that's to anybody listening to this, whatever you post on the internet is a representation of you. So if I post what I consider now immature content back then, it reflects on who you are as a person. And I didn't want that.
Your content grows with you.
Right. And that's something that I've learned. And that's, as I mentioned in the first episode, that's kind of the reason why Bobby Vlogs didn't make it, past where it did and where it ended in high school for the main daily, actually getting involved, just because of how things were different back then. And I always thought that I could complain about things, but then you realize that you're almost like a joke to everybody. Everyone's sharing those videos and like, oh, look what Bobby talked about in his vlog.
Look at Bobby. So, oh my goodness.
Right. So I understood that I was joke material almost to some people, but then there was a lot of people that I met online that grew. There's one user that that you've seen comment, Mark in Iowa. Good old Mark.
Oh yeah, Mark from Iowa.
Good old Mark Smith. Shout out to Mark Smith. He watched my vlogs back in the day, and he still watches. I mean, he just connects with the personality, and I guess he establishes with that, and he likes it, and he sticks around. And that's what a true viewer is of the ATA network is. You get into content that you like because you like the content, but then you stick around for the creator.
Yeah.
And so that's
really true.
That's what I tried to do with this.
Yeah.
And it's been successful. We've had some ups and downs. And one of the things, like this whole question of, making new content and you switch the things. So yeah, we did the backyard wrestling thing for a little bit. Me and Steven and Zach, two friends of mine back from the high school days, I'm still in touch with today. We did a lot of short films and movies and skits and stuff like that. That was another evolution of the channel.
Right.
Doing all the sport montages and stuff I did in high school.
Yeah.
What that did for me was I had my audience of friends that I had and just us weirdos, I guess is what I'll call us. And then when I started doing the sporting stuff, then and for how small Mount Olive is, there is your sections. You've got the preppy people and whatever.
That's how it is everywhere.
Right. So the sports stuff really kind of broke that barrier and where everyone kind of realized the importance of what I'm doing. And then that's around the time too that I had the realization that I need to bring my bring professional content.
One of my favorite quotes of yours, Bobby, is if you go to Mount Olive and you ask for the AV group at the high school, you would go to Bobby.
Yeah.
It was just Bobby.
There was no club. I mean, it was...
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not wrong. The school had a camera. The school had cameras.
Right.
Sport organizations had cameras. The football team had a camera. One of my teachers that I had that did the computer and typing classes, Photoshop.
Yeah.
Mrs. Adden.
Shout out to you, Mrs. Adden.
Shout out to you, Alice Adden. I can say that now because I'm graduated.
Ooh.
But no, she had a camera too. I don't know if the school owned it. I think she actually said she bought it at like a yard sale. But I ended up using that for a lot of my videos in high school because nobody else was using the equipment.
Right.
And I was doing such a good job at doing video, and there was really nobody else. I remember when I was getting ready to graduate, when I was a senior, that there was some kids that were coming up from 8th grade that she thought that one of them might have been interested in video production. So she tried getting him to learn a little bit from me because I knew that once I left that all the video stuff that they were was going to be gone.
Yeah.
So that was unsuccessful. I don't know if they've had anybody that's interested in video production. I've actually been asked. I ran into my junior high science teacher, Mrs. Hine. Shout out to you, Mrs. Hine.
Shout out to you, Mrs. Hine.
Julie Hine. I can say that now.
Oh, goodness.
She actually approached me at the St. Louis Auto Show saying like that they've got a huge STEM program, that the majority of the students there are interested in STEM, and they're all a part of that organization, that they're actually interested in me coming over and talking to them.
Yeah.
And like talking kart racing and video production stuff. So that would be really cool. I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, yeah, that's similar to something one of my friends from high school did. He graduated my sophomore year. He was like the video guy. We actually had an actual club. I was the head of that club, and junior and senior year, no big deal.
You were the Bobby Krug.
I was the Bobby Krug, but I had other people with me, obviously.
There was a lot of Bobby Krugs.
There were a lot of Bobby Krugs. But he started, because he went to SIUE as well. He graduated last year, actually, with an electrical engineering degree. Mm-hmm. But during that time, he would still go back to the high school and like work with them for their club now. But now he has a job at the high school doing video stuff, doing sound stuff for them. And yeah, that's sounds similar to something you could do.
Not only is it needed in the field, but it's a good moneymaker too.
I'm more of a fan of STEAM.
STEAM, like the video game thing, or
No.
or like water.
Science, technology, engineering, and
like
arts.
the actual. You're adding arts.
Arts,
as the art people should do.
The arts are important.
Very important.
But this episode's not about me; it's about Bobby Krug. We can get into that at a later time. What were we talking about?
I don't even know.
I don't even remember.
I would say that so I used the video camera at school,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I was the only person there doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to stick around. I did stick around for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
My freshman year in college, I don't know if you remember this, but I still did the video stuff for the football team. After I graduated, like this
Yes.
2016
Yeah,
fall,
yeah.
I still went and traveled with them.
Yeah, you did.
And
Yeah, because I remember you would send me things like, I am a college student on a bus full of high schoolers.
right, it felt weird, and it was weird. But yeah, I knew after I did that was over.
Right.
After that. And most of the time, the video guys for the football team ended up just being injured football players anyways. So, I mean, they just and I don't want to, make it seem like what I do isn't valuable, but it's not hard to do. Like what they wanted what people wanted out of it, like
Right.
just film from the games.
Right. That's
Something
that's stuff I used to do.
but all the stuff that I did for like the football tributes and stuff like that, like actually getting like a lot more artistic angles or actually piecing together a proper montage with music and all that. That's where I come in at.
Also, you come in at where, yes, recording stuff, easy. Editing stuff, most people can figure that out. I can't, but most people can. But your thing is how the amount of care and time you put into your stuff. Because you do care about your videos. That's like the biggest thing now, especially that I've realized in the last 4 years, how much you've grown as that kind of person. You actually do, you put in the work. So that is the valuable part of it.
Yeah, especially with there's two things that I've learned, or two, I guess, areas that I've actually started to learn stuff is like through SIUE and learning the importance of things like sound design.
Yeah.
And then recently working with Greg at Margay. He,
Greg
Dingus. He works with a lot of, and I don't even know. It felt like he's just learned everything super quickly. I don't even know if he's used a lot of DSLR stuff before. I mean, he's had a little bit of a YouTube career actually back when I was doing all the YouTube stuff. But he's taught me a lot with DSLRs and different color correction stuff and shooting in raw formats and then putting LUTs on, and like there's a bunch of things that I didn't even know existed in video production that I've learned just by working with him and all that stuff. I mean, it makes it harder to post content just because of how much I want to look through it and make sure it's presentable. Like I still the Miami video that I posted, not I don't even know when this episode is going to come out.
Right.
So there might be the vlog by then, but the vlog when we're recording this isn't out yet. But I posted a short montage that's been out, and a lot of people said that's one of my best videos I've made in like a while. And like, I don't see that just because like I'm comparing myself to what Greg did.
Right.
And Greg, did you see the video that Margay put out? I don't know if you have, but I'll put a link to it in the link dump at bobbykrug.com/podcast.
Yep.
He put together a fantastic video that I can't compete with. It's like, it's next level, but it's stuff like that. Like, especially back in high school, there was no competition.
Right.
Like, I did not have anybody to gauge off of.
Right.
But now in the mass comm department, there's people that are doing things that are fantastic, that are really good, that they're going to be successful in the video field. And then when you've got guys like Greg that are, they're self-taught, that they're doing all this stuff that's fantastic. That's like, man, I just spent so much money on a 4-year education, and he's just learning all this stuff off of YouTube, and he's like, blowing my stuff out of the water.
The thing with that is though, like, we said previously that I'm a theater major. It's like, I didn't necessarily have to go to school for that necessarily. It's very important to go to school if that's what your heart desires. but the experience that you get and the networking and all that sort of stuff, you can't compare yourself to other people's paths because that's not you.
I know for a fact that if I can't secure a job, that there's a connection that I've got in the mass comm department that will get me a job.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's definitely right. And it's definitely like what people say is like, it's mostly who you know, not what you know.
My sociology professor in my senior year of high school, he said, working in the world is 90% who you know, 10% what you know. And I have kept that with me all these 4 years.
Because it's true.
It is.
It's really true.
It really is. But yeah, so that got way off track, but like not in a bad way.
Not a bad way, no.
You know, got to fill that time slot, you know?
Right. We got well, I mean, it's all relevant.
It is.
I mean, this is good information, especially for people out there that not only interested on how ATA Network got started, but those out there that are trying to build their own brand that want to be successful.
The JTA Network.
Is that what you want to do?
That's me.
Jacob the Achievable?
Yes. But going to that all the way back to that original question was like, where did your content shift? Like from then, like your video game and stuff, you know, where do you think, I think I might know the answer to this, but where do you think your own personal shift in your content from what you were doing from like high school, freshman year, sophomore year of college to like now, like your racing videos, all that, where do you think that shift came? You think that came with like the Cartplex and all that?
That's a loaded question.
It is. Well, I mean, it sure is.
Well, obviously graduating high school and getting started at SIUE, that phase, that summer period was definitely a big transition point for me. Because I mean, there's just been so many things. Like I never worked. I never had a job, like a legit job. And when I graduated high school, that's when I started working at a Napa Auto Parts store, which is completely out of my ballpark as far as my knowledge that I had back at the time. So yeah, I mean, I graduate high school. I lose all these connections with people that I thought were, there with me for the long run.
And that's a different episode.
But I mean, it's still part of
it.
It
is.
And then doing all the Cartplex stuff, getting into that and becoming good at it, the job, starting at SIUE. I mean, there's just so many things that changed me. And there was the same innocent passion that I had back in the senior year of high school where I was posting all these videos. It did carry through the summer. I mean, there wasn't a lot that I produced.
Right.
But I started strong freshman year of SIUE with the same mentality that I had my senior year of high school, where I want to do these vlogs to show people what's going on.
Yeah.
And I did that freshman year for a little bit.
It carried into sophomore year a little bit too, because there's the one where I was you.
Right. And like, it was difficult for me because it needed moments like that, like a good story like that. And that's where I felt like it was dwindling down, was just the fact that, and I said this in the first episode of the podcast as to why I don't vlog now. It's like my life is pretty, it follows a process. Like I know what's going on.
Right.
So it's hard to tell a good story when you're doing the same thing every day.
I mean, yeah.
So yeah, definitely my life changed between that period, and it changed for the better, because things that changed is I produced content for other people back then, back in the day, doing the sports stuff,
Yep.
and even the vlogs. Even I didn't. It was a good release for me to complain and rant, but I still didn't feel like I was doing it for myself back then. The videos that I do now are videos that I find interest in, things that I want to do for me. Like I didn't. One of the aspects of why I went to Miami recently to go compete at SCUSA, it was a very like a gut feeling, like I needed to go do it.
Right.
But it was more so like, when's the last time I've done something for myself?
Right. Yeah.
And I need to go do something for myself, get new experience or whatever. So I went down there to do that. And I mean, that was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. So that's kind of something in my personality that I think has changed, is just trying to do more things for myself, try to put content out there that I would enjoy rather than trying to appeal to an audience. And like the thing is, and I've heard this a lot, and I'm sure you've heard this too, is like, if you as the content creator enjoy your content, that'll show through. You'll make really good content and you'll build an audience that way, instead of trying to cater yourself or cater your content to fit an audience and not necessarily pulling out a fake part of yourself.
Right.
I was never fake in a vlog, but it just brings out, the best of you when you're doing something that you want to do.
There's a Shakespeare quote from Hamlet. It says, "Be true to thine own self." And I think that follows through.
That fits in like a puzzle piece.
It
like
does.
That's perfect.
Yeah. This is kind of a loaded question as well. Going forward, what do you expect your channel to become? What do you expect this podcast to become? What do you expect ATA Network to become? And then you don't have to answer this one right away, but then what would be the dream? What would be the ATA Network dream?
The ATA Network dream is like, all right, let's get real for a second.
Let's get real.
So if I were to somehow weasel my way through a like legit racing career, like that'd be awesome.
I mean,
right?
yeah.
And then I would turn ATA Network into an actual production company. Like I would take this and it would be like an ad agency. I'd hire people that would work with content creators, and it would be so like one of the things with NASCAR, and this is going way off topic,
NASCAR.
but I think of like companies like Hendrick Motorsports, and the way that sponsors work is like you've got all these companies that, you know, that are investing to be a part of a race team, but they're actually investing in working in the collaboration between other companies. So like I'm actually going to go off of Hendrick. I'm going to go to Penske. Penske, they run Ford as the manufacturer, and one of their primary sponsors is PPG, and they make paint. And PPG, ironically enough, supplies paint to Ford. So they're not necessarily investing in Penske as a race company because they want their name on the side of a car.
Right.
They're investing because they want that connection with other companies and to build their brands individually. Sean Kennedy taught me that at Margate. We talked about that. He said it a lot more elegantly than I did, but that's what people want to invest in. So if I become a legit race car driver, let's say I'm doing Formula One or IndyCar or something like that, that's not, I'm not saying it's impossible, but there's a slim chance that's going to happen. I mean, I got skill. I got a little bit of skill. It's learned skill. It's not natural talent.
Right.
And I don't have the paycheck, the wallet for it. But, you know, granted, I get to that point, ATA Network could be a legit media company that would actually supply the advertising material for something like that. So I think the ATA Network dream is maintaining my brand image, being a part of who I am, and then being a media production company like that. And then I would have the revenue and the companies to work with to make something actually work out.
Well, you know, you are a business minor.
I am a business minor, so I can sell stuff.
You could.
And it could still be a production company even if I don't be anything big. I
Right.
mean, I can
That's
always
true.
make
That's true.
videos myself.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said about where I see ATA Network going, like, man, and I hate to say this, and this is going to upset some people. And if you're listening and you're in the kart racing world and you've made it this long on something that isn't a traditional racing related video, I'm sorry you're gonna have to hear this. But the truth about this, right? And we're recording this and it's gonna make it out before I graduate college.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is like I'm graduating college and I've got a mass comm degree with a business minor. And I gotta go where my job is. Like I gotta go find a job and I gotta go there. I would love to work in NASCAR, and I would love to work in IndyCar. IndyCar is based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. NASCAR is based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. There's a couple different racetracks that have openings right now that I've just been looking at just as curiosity. There's Phoenix Raceway. So that's all the way across the country.
Right.
I'll be impressed if I can stay and run a full season at the Kartplex this year. I think last year was honestly my last full-time season in kart racing. And
I mean, it was a good year to go out.
but not a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
And like, there's so many things that I would still like to do. Like,
Right.
I don't have a contract obligation to run all these races.
Right.
I've made a little bit of a disclaimer in my contract saying, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. So if I got to pull the plug, you gotta let me pull this plug. So if I got to stop racing and stop making videos for you guys, you take the cart and that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think people know that. I think people expect like, oh, Bobby's going to run again this year. Let's go. He could win the championship.
They know now.
But what happens if halfway through the season I'm the leader in points and I dip?
Yeah.
That's a legit. While it would devastate me. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
You do, exactly.
So, and not only does that scare me because I haven't gotten a win yet, and that's something that haunts me a lot. And I want to be a winner, as everybody does in racing. You want to win. That's
You're a winner
your
in
goal.
my heart, Bobby.
Thanks, Jacob. But you want to go and you want to win races and you want to be on top, and I haven't done that yet, and that's something that I want to do. And another thing too is ATA Network is racing. Like that's not the main thing.
Yeah.
But it's a big part of it right now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, 100%.
That's what people are subscribing for is the racing related content. That's all I've been pushing. That's what I've been just so dedicated to over the past 4 years. You've seen my evolution. You know what's going on.
That's why when they see a podcast episode with Jacob, they're like, oh, gotta click off.
Right. So
Please don't click off.
Don't. That's you're too late. You're too far into it. That's why, like, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to graduate. I'm afraid to leave because once I'm out from the obligation of SIUE, and I leave the Cartplex as a job, and I go get a real job, it's unpredictable.
It is.
We
got to make your way.
We talked about in the last episode that we did together where just how much we like WWE. I would love to work with WWE. I like to be traveling with them and doing all the production stuff.
Same.
I can't.
But I can't.
I can't fly back to St. Louis and race a go-kart. That's just that's not feasible.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. No. So, and it's tough because this year I've been given a lot more opportunities, thanks to Margay, to be able to run the Travel Challenge Series.
Yeah.
And some of those races aren't until summertime, late in the year.
Yeah.
So if I got to pull the plug and leave, I miss out on those opportunities. So to answer your question, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if I get, that's another thing too, is like when I do all these video stuff for Margay and I'm producing all this video content, it makes it harder for me to come back and treat YouTube as not a job. Like it feels there's like an obligation to it. And that's what the vlog felt like at the very end, which is also scary to say. That's usually when a transition happens, is when I feel like it's getting tiring and boring.
Yeah.
This podcast has kind of re-sparked some of that for me, so that's good. But
I'm in love with this podcast. Don't ever get rid of it.
I'll try. I mean, there's an end to everything at some point.
Obviously,
if something, I think I'm going to keep making videos forever, obviously.
In
but
some form, some way.
Yeah. And they'll get to a point where it just doesn't work out anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, it'll be very interesting to see where this channel is at the end of the year. Because if I get a job doing video production stuff and I'm spending all this time producing videos for clients or lugging camera equipment around or whatever, and then I get to a short period of time, maybe like a 2 or 3 day span where I've got off from work or something and I want to bring something to the channel, I mean, it's kind of difficult to do something in your free time as enjoyment that you also consider work.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest challenges that's been working at the Gateway Cartplex, just because you want to like it, you want to be, looking forward to it. But then, I mean, in all honesty, when I wake up for a race day and I go to the track, I feel like I'm going to work.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to work.
So,
I mean, it's just, that's my brain vomit of that question is like, I just don't know. And it's going to be hard to know. But the channel, while it just went through a phase, we rebranded. We went through a new logo. We launched the Spreadshirt shop.spreadshirt.com/ATA network. And, it's afraid that I did all that rebranding and try to build this thing up, and potentially it might get redone again.
Yeah.
It's very soon.
I mean, that's just what happens. If things don't change, things get stale.
Yeah.
And things don't work how you want them to.
Maybe we'll go back to video games.
I mean, hey, there's a song. It says, some change will do you good.
Who sings that?
I don't know.
I've never heard that song.
I don't know, but it's a song.
Okay, I believe you. It's a solid lyric.
It is. It's a lyric.
But I'm having a lot of fun doing what I'm doing right now. I'd hate for it to stop, but I realize that's a threat of something that can happen.
Right, yeah. The only thing I ask, Bobby, is that you end up across the country, that you have to come back to be my best man at my wedding.
You got it.
Cool.
I can do that.
Cool.
I can, I'll arrange that. We'll do a vlog. I'll vlog the wedding. Yeah, you don't need
I'm not paying you for it.
I was going to say, you don't need a wedding videographer.
I'm an actor, going to be teacher. I can't afford that.
Well, I mean, if you're if you get like movie actor, like, can you imagine? You're bringing in so much dough.
That's not my dream. That's not my dream.
What do you think the future of ATA Network is? Yeah, you don't know.
I don't know.
He's over there shaking his head. Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, obviously I've been on the channel. I know the channel more so than like some other people would. I mean, but this is my first true involvement into the ATA Network industry.
I mean,
I've been on vlogs and stuff.
For the lack of a better word, you've been like an advisor.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
you help me make decisions for the channel.
I consider myself Bobby's advisor and merch consultant and
brand ambassador.
But it's gonna go wherever it needs to go. So another question I have here is, will the vlogs ever make a return?
I mean, I did pretty strongly say in the first episode that it didn't fit who I am.
You're gonna vlog my wedding though.
I will vlog your wedding, but it's tough That's that's another tough question.
It is.
Just because like I still stand pretty strongly on the fact that I don't like talking about personal stuff. But granted, I'm in an opportunity where there's cool things going on and I can just vlog cool experiences. Kind of like what I'm doing with the racing thing. I'm pretty sure that, maybe not as soon as I get into a career out of college, but I would find something, a hobby that I can make content based about.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what that content would be. I'm pretty involved in racing. I'd like to keep doing racing stuff.
Wait, you race?
I race go-karts.
Oh, wow, cool. Where at?
The Gateway Carplex.
Oh, cool.
In a Margay Ignite with a Briggs 206 engine on it.
Oh, yeah.
So if I can keep doing something racing related, but it's difficult to do stuff that's racing related when you're not doing it yourself. Like I don't want to. One of the people that I'm connected with, Zach Buchanan, he did, and he's trying to start it back up. I don't know if he's actually successfully done that. But he had a podcast called the Pit Limiter Podcast, and it basically just...
That's a good name.
Yeah. He talks about racing stuff, like news, and they discuss it. There's a lot of those.
There are.
Like
there are
I would not...
Very many of those.
I would not do anything like that. Like, I don't believe in doing the news thing or opinions. Like, I'll give my opinion on some things. Like one of the big things going around NASCAR right now is the new car that they're going to come out with. They're getting rid of the 5 lug nut system and they're going to a single lug. So like, at NASCAR, right? Because this is going to be funny. So Jacob.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a video of like a pit stop in NASCAR?
Yes.
And they got the air guns and they go through and like,
yes.
Right. And you just did it 5 times because there's 5 lugs on a car.
I did. Wow.
So in like IndyCar, they're only one zzz.
Ooh.
So they go zzz, and then they take the wheel off and they zzz. The new NASCAR car is going to have 1 instead of 5.
So pit stops will be... Whoop.
Right. They'll be really quick. So people don't like that. Some people don't like it. Some people do like it. And I'm one of the people that do like it. Because, one, it makes it safer for the driver because with 1 lug, you've got a better chance of making sure that it's not loose. Whereas when you got 5 to cycle through, that's one of the big things. And then it's making it more modern, especially the wheel that they're going to put on. They're not making it look... It's not old. It's new. It's a new style. It actually makes the car look stock, like it's supposed to be, like a stock car.
Right.
So I really like that. So like, there's things like that I could talk about and be very opinionated about. But like, one of the things that was announced as well was like Tony Stewart. He just retired a couple years back. He's going to be running an Xfinity car when they come to Indianapolis because they're going to do the road course. And like, why would you do a podcast where you say that? Like, there's so many like NASCAR news outlets that people are subscribed to on social media.
So many.
Why would you're like relaying message?
Right.
Like, if you're a racing fan, you would have seen that.
I mean, that's the thing about content creating is that you have to be original or else your name isn't there.
So that's why, like, down the road, then I want to make new content. This podcast will never be a news podcast.
Right.
And that's also why I don't want to get into politics and stuff like that. Because if you want politics, there's places for politics.
Not even news outlets. Go to Twitter. Go to Facebook.
You'll see it.
It's always trending on Twitter.
Your sister or somebody or your uncle is going to be talking about their favorite candidate. I talked about that on the first episode.
Yeah.
So So I would never do that. It's going to be something where like you said, original content is something
you like to do.
I believe strongly in, and
something that you can get out to the world that hasn't been seen before.
Exactly.
Well, Bobby, that's all the questions I got. So I think we're about out of time.
That actually worked out perfectly for the time zone. That was a lot of good questions. A lot of people that want a closer mind and a closer look into my mind of content creation.
It's scary.
You don't know if you want to get any closer than you just were. But yeah, thanks, Jacob, for those questions. Hopefully people found that entertaining, enlightening.
I hope so.
Maybe.
I tend to think I'm funny and entertaining.
Did I offer up good information?
You did stuff I didn't even know.
Cool. So that was the goal of that.
Yeah.
To inform people of the knowledge that they don't know.
Yeah.
So that was a cool non-racing. Well, there's a little bit of racing, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
But hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode. I don't know if I enjoyed it or not. We'll when I listen and post, we'll figure it out. But we want to thank you guys. You made it this far. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the ATA Network podcast. Once again, I'll remind you guys that any links or any additional information that we want to add to this episode, you can check that out on the link dump found at bobbykrug.com/podcast. Also, if you got any recommendations for guests, go ahead and shoot that on the social medias. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at ATA Network. And also support the show by visiting our shop at shop.spreadshirt.com/ATA Network. You can find t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, mouse pads, hats. Jacob was over there pointing towards head, and I was like,
I'm trying to help him out.
What is he trying to say?
You can buy heads.
You can buy my head.
Don't.
Please don't. I need it to survive. So yeah, thanks for tuning in to this episode, and I will catch you guys on the next episode of the ATA Network Podcast.